a decision in the Alton-Nolan competency hearing, a controversial rule change in the U.S. Senate, and a once-dead abortion bill gets new life. This is OU Nightly. Now, a Cleveland County judge has ruled Alton-Nolan is competent to stand trial in the 2014 killing of a former coworker. The decision late today comes after 4 days of testimony at the Cleveland County Courthouse. That's where we join Nightly's Eric Payne for the very latest on the judge's decision. Eric?
Thanks, Colin. Judge Lori Walkley decided just minutes ago that Alton-Nolan is competent to stand trial, and the defense for him did not meet the burden of proof. Nolan himself was not present today, and he hasn't been for most of his competency trial after he was removed from the courtroom on Monday. We heard testimony from Scott Orth, a psychiatrist, who answered a string of questions from the defense. Orth says he met with Nolan 3 times last year, and based on those meetings, he believes that he is not mentally ill and is competent. At one point, he stated that although previous doctors have documented mental illness, those claims could be subjective since it is not an exact science. Now, we'll wait to see more on what's happening with this as he actually comes to trial. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Eric. Now, the mental state of Alton-Nolan has been in headlines for weeks, due in large to the measure of the shocking, sensational nature of the crime he's accused of committing.
That's right. A former employee of the food processing plant, Nolan was terminated, and prosecutors say he decided to seek revenge in the worst ways. Investigators say Nolan, seen here, took a knife and viciously attacked his victim, 54-year-old Colleen Hufford, seen here as well. The crime was committed here in the fall of 2014 at the business then called Vaughn Foods. After an attack so violent that it nearly severed his victim's head, Nolan's rampage continued while assaulting another employee, 43-year-old Tracy Johnson. The company's chief operating officer, Mark Vaughn, shot Nolan with a rifle, bringing the incidents to an end. Nolan and Johnson were hospitalized. Johnson was released after being treated for multiple stab wounds, and since recovering, Nolan has been in jail in Norman, and with today's court rulings, he is now awaiting his days in court. Before the Hufford killing, however, Alton-Nolan was no stranger to the law. As you can see, in 2010, he was arrested by troopers on outstanding warrants, but escaped and was later captured. In 2011, he was convicted on drug charges and sent to prison. At Vaughn Foods, before the killing, he was having trouble getting along with his co-workers. Tough situation there.
Now, I know that we had a bit of a frost this morning, so Jordan, can you tell us more about those cool temperatures?
That's right. It was a chilly morning if you were outside. We even had a frost and a freeze in some parts of Oklahoma, sitting at 33 degrees this morning in McAllister, even 34 degrees in Enid this morning. So it was a chilly morning, but we've recovered nicely, sitting at 70 degrees in Norman right now, 67 degrees in Oklahoma City, even some mid-70s towards the southwest in Oklahoma. So coming up, we're talking about a frost for tomorrow morning. We've got warmer conditions coming for the weekend, but we do have some severe storm chances. I'll have all the details coming up, but for now, back to you guys.
Good to know, Jordan. Thank you. A judge dismissed a lawsuit against 3 oil and gas companies over Oklahoma's earthquake swarm. The Sierra Club Oklahoma files a lawsuit that asks for a reduction of production waste from companies like Devon Energy, Chesapeake Energy, and New Dominion. The group wants an independent center to monitor, predict, and analyze the wastewater volumes and connections to induced earthquakes.
And the U.S. Senate makes a major rule change. An American hero is laid to rest. Kyle Payne's in the news center with those stories and more. Kyle.
JC, Senate Republicans passed the nuclear option 55-45 today. This option changed the Senate rule allowing the Neil Gorsuch Supreme Court nomination to pass on a simple majority vote. Coming up in just a minute, JC and Colin will be talking with political scientist J.D. Rackey about the impact of today's monumental rule change. And the president hinted at military action in Syria today following this week's deadly chemical weapons attack. And meanwhile, China's President Xi Jinping and President Trump arrived in South Florida for a summit meeting. The two are expected to discuss a number of pressing issues, in particular reining in North Korea's nuclear weapons program. And this morning at Arlington National Cemetery, astronaut John Glenn was laid to rest. Glenn, the first American to orbit Earth, served as an Ohio senator for 22 years, and at age 77, Glenn was the oldest astronaut when he flew on the final mission of Space Shuttle Discovery. And JC, insult comedy legend Don Rickles died today at 90.
Wow, thank you, Kyle.
Now we have a very special guest, Mr. J.D. Racky, a political science graduate assistant who wrote a paper for the London School of Economics blog, and more on why people should vote for cloture on Gorsuch's nomination. We're very honored to have him today. Thank you for joining us.
It's good to be here.
So what does the nuclear option mean for the future?
So it did go to cloture.
Okay.
The cloture motion failed, and they reinterpreted the rule and changing precedent, meaning that it now only takes 51 votes to invoke cloture and end debate on nominees. So going forward, it will probably be more increased partisanship in the Senate.
Now, one senator said when a nominee doesn't really get his way, that we should change the nominee, not the rules. What are your thoughts on that idea?
That's kind of the historic approach to how these things have gone ever since the 2013 changing of the nuclear option. That really hasn't been the case, and both parties are guilty of kind of pushing this agenda and getting their people through at all costs, regardless of what happens to the rules.
Of course. All right. Well, thank you, JD, so much for spending time with us today. So, the latest CARE Oklahoma Civil Rights Report found alarming trends in the status of Muslim civil rights in Oklahoma. They've seen an increase in vandalism complaints at mosques and Islamic centers, as well as an increase in reported violent hate crimes and increases in immigration service referrals.
There could be further delays to the first deliveries of Boeing's KC-46 tankers, according to the Government Accountability Office. Initially, Boeing agreed to deliver the first of the KC-46 tankers by February of 2016 and complete the delivery of the first 18 by March of this year. Now, it will be September before the first 3 aircrafts will be delivered to the Air Force. A report says the initial delays involved wing problems and design issues, and the latest delays are attributable to pending certifications.
Still ahead on OU Nightly, unemployment rates are dropping in Oklahoma counties.
Plus, one too many liquor stores could be monitored. Welcome back. The unemployment rate is dropping in Oklahoma, or at least in some counties. While the statewide unemployment rate was 4.6%, just below the national rate of 4.7%, McIntosh County had the highest unemployment rate at 8.7%, followed by Latimer and Stevens County.
Now, Mobile Medical Examination, Inc., a national leader in preventative care technology and in-home risk assessment, is coming to Oklahoma City. Mary Fallon said MedXM's presence helps us to further diversify our economy and provide career opportunities for Oklahomans. The MedXM Outreach Center plans to provide 400 full-time jobs over the next 5 years. The expansion not only helps Oklahoma, but also helps MedXM's mission to provide exceptional member service.
Hey, Emily Akins joins us now in the government report to show you how these bills could change this hot-button issue. Emily?
That's right, Colin. The Senate brought an abortion bill back to the table yesterday. This measure would prevent the abortion of a fetus solely based on the fact that it had a genetic abnormality. It makes no exceptions, though, for rape or incest. The Senate originally said they would not hear the bill because it was unconstitutional, and the courts have recently tossed out a number of bills that put restrictions on abortion. Senate leadership has now reassigned the bill to the Senate Rules Committee for review. And DUI attorneys have their hands full with the case involving an impaired driver, but they say their load could get even heavier if this particular bill becomes a law. The bill states if you refuse to take a breathalyzer, you could find yourself behind bars. Attorneys say the bill basically says, we're going to file criminal charges against you if you don't give us evidence against you. Refusing a breathalyzer would become a $1,000 fine and a possible 10 days in jail. But the legislators aren't just worried about drinking and driving. The House adopted several bills yesterday, and one focuses on the number of liquor stores a married couple could own. Current state law only allows 2 stores per couple, but this bill would increase that amount to 4. Another bill advanced by the committee would let liquor stores open earlier in the day, around 8 a.m., and under State Question 792, they would be allowed to stay open until midnight. And guys, legislation is also still discussing liquor stores being open on Sunday. You know, Oklahoma is still one of the few states that doesn't allow it.
Of course, right? All right, well, thank you, Emily.
Thanks, JC.
A new flu report from the Oklahoma Department of Health today. Since September 1st, 2,273 people were hospitalized or died from the flu. In the last week, 2 people died of the flu, which puts the total since September 1st at 90 deaths.
And an Oklahoma man was sentenced to 2.5 years in federal prison for writing bad checks. 32-year-old Robert Jordan Chiles wrote bad checks to buy more than $41,000 worth of postage stamps. Chiles pleaded guilty to an embezzlement charge last year, where his attorney tried for probation, saying that Chile had accepted responsibility for his action.
Still ahead on OU Nightly. Spring football's coming up this Saturday. Should be fun.
And with that nice weather out there, is that going to stick around, Jordan?
For at least tomorrow, but it'll be changing for the weekend. I'll have all the details after the break.
I'm Amina Schweitzer at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Less than an hour ago, a Cleveland County judge declared that Alton Nolan, the Oklahoma man charged with beheading a coworker, is mentally competent. Judge Lori Walkley ruled that Nolan is competent after testimonies by 2 medical professionals. One of the professionals, Dr. Sean Robertson, pointed out that Nolan had never been diagnosed with a mental illness. That's all for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Amina. Now, roller derby leagues have been around Oklahoma for over 10 years, but Oklahoma recently merged 2 leagues to bring a single source of competitive roller derby to central Oklahoma. OU Nightly's Mandy Lee has more on the merger.
Most of the time, when you hear about a hard-hitting sport, you tend to think of football. But here at Starskate in Norman, fans of all ages gather around the rink to watch the hard-hitting sport known as women's roller derby.
Several years ago, about a decade ago, Oklahoma City Roller Derby and the Oklahoma Victory Dolls were actually one league. We split for various reasons, and we were able to come back together many years later and form like a united league for the entire city, combine our powers, and hopefully move up in rankings with the combined talent of both teams.
The new merger has already impacted Oklahoma Roller Derby in positive ways.
With the merger, that has helped our game attendance extremely. The business side of things are easier because we have more skaters involved, so it's less of a workload.
The bigger league is drawing in more fans and sponsors, allowing roller derby to continue to grow in central Oklahoma. Mandy Lee, OU Nightly.
The Oklahoma Victory Dolls season is just kicking off, so check out their website www.oklahomavictorydolls.com for more details.
All right, Jordan, it's been a pretty nice day so far, but will those temps stick around this evening?
Yeah, they will be going out this evening. We'll be getting to 50 degrees by midnight tonight. But it will be calm winds. It'll be a great day to take a walk outside. You just might want to have the jacket. Then if we extend that forecast out again, we got that chance for rain on Sunday. But other than that, Saturday is going to be perfect. It'll just be kind of windy, though. And then we kind of Monday, chance for rain mainly in southeastern Oklahoma. Norman should stay dry for most of Monday. It'll be cooler, though, for Monday and Tuesday. And Wednesday and Thursday, our next system moves in. Could be a really good rainmaker, hopefully. We need some rain.
I like all those 70s, though.
That's what I'm saying. Nice weather is anything I could want.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jordan. Thank you for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication on the University of the campus of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.